He hung, suspended by a heavy log chain dangling from a cross beam or rafter in the warm, red hellish light inside the huge, almost cathedral-like barn. The space around him seemed infinite and filled with a twisted menagerie of human figures in various stages of dissection, or more accurately, butchering. He stared at the far door, which led to what he knew to be a seemingly endless maze of corridors and chambers, wondering how long it would be before the creature he knew as Jupiter made its appearance. The enormous 8-foot-tall, bipedal walking man-wolf would enter during random times throughout the night and harvest parts from the grisly storage, or sometimes take an entire person out into the darkness beyond. This had been his world since the night he and his friends had been captured from their campsite many days before. Since then, he had learned that there were many, a pack, and they referred to each other by the names of various Roman gods. The one known as Jupiter was the largest, with white-gray fur. Also, a smaller but intensely fast gray beast with silver eyes was often at his side. He was called Mercury. Neptune, fittingly, would cast a net on prey, while a monstrous, savage black man-beast called Pluto seemed perpetually hungry, thin, and emaciated compared to his fellows. The barn and the fields and woods around it seemed was a moving point through the multiverse, from where they would appear and hunt in various worlds. The area would appear and attach itself to the fabric of the material space, manifest for an undetermined number of days, and then vanish, continuing its wretched journey, the ongoing harvest of human flesh. It was in this way that he had been captured, one summer night, drinking around a campfire by a still country pond. The ground had been dry and drought-cracked, and the air filled with the droning buzz of insects. The sun had sank, and their reverie had become a low, comfortable conversation of memory and stories. That was when the net had fallen on his brother and 3 friends. Their shock was a painful disbelief as they fought, and he had leapt up to help, only to find an enormous clawed hand wrapped in an iron grip around his neck. Pluto had lifted him easily from his feet and stared into his soul with blazing obsidian eyes. That was when he had heard it, their voices speaking in his mind. "Do not fight," it said. "It will only increase your suffering." They were bound and dragged across the countryside. And that was when he saw the barn standing like a great red fortress amongst the trees and underbrush. That shouldn't be there. That wasn't there before, his brother had whispered, and he knew this to be true. He remembered being dragged into the immense structure through what seemed miles of empty darkness. From all around there were the sounds of screams, chains, and machinery. There was a pungent heat in the steam-laden air, and beneath it all the ever-present aroma of carnage. And so he had been tied, hanging on the rope. That night, before Jupiter had left, he had lunged and sank his fangs deep into his torso. The beast's head was the size of a horse's, but marked by a great gaping maw of teeth. It had lapped at the fountain of blood which had sprung from his chest before reluctantly forcing itself to stop. The wound had been excruciating, and in short time made him sick. The fever and pain had almost driven him mad, and only after what seemed days was he taken down and thrown by Jupiter into a horrid bleak pit. That night he had heard a voice call out to him. He awakened to see a strange creature peering down at him from the edge of the pit above. Another wolf. It called itself Bacchus, and inside his mind it whispered, "Thirsty, thirsty. So very thirsty you must be." And in truth, the thirst was made horrifyingly intense and sharp. The creature had then lowered down a great burgundy-painted jug on ropes. "Drink my wine. Drink deep," the voice had said. And so he had drank until for a moment all hunger and all thirst was slacked. He had lain then on the cold earth and slept, and it was not long before he was awakened by wrenching spasms in his stomach, and from his mouth he vomited a long gray slug-like thing the length of his arm, and on it was a human-like face which screamed agony as it slithered into the shadow outside the dim red light from the hole above. Soon later the hunger had returned with renewed clarity, and again Bacchus appeared. This time with a blue jug, and this wine was bitter but cold like mint. Once more the hot pain of starvation and thirst was cooled, and he fell into slumber even as the jug was pulled back up to Bacchus on a rope. On this night, like the other, he retched and again vomited a large pod or cocoon the size of his own head. He stared in wonder as it began to hatch, and from it came a gigantic blue-winged moth with pale glistening body of a fetus twisting and screaming between the wings as it flew up and away into the red inferno. Yet again the empty gnawing ache of hunger was renewed, and after what seemed eternity, Bacchus again lowered a now golden jug, and the contents were sweet and reddish amber like honey. Each draught was like finding life, healing, passion, and peace, and this brought no sickness, only rest and strength. He awakened strong and keen for the first time, with thoughts of climbing the great stone walls, and so he did, his ascent lasting for ages, as he grasped, clawed, and pulled his way towards the crimson glow above. He pulled himself over the edge and into the light for the first time in what could have been an era. He lay, gasping and exhausted, until soon the scent had found his nose. Eyes opening, he looked on and saw a great fire burning before him, and on it a spit, on which decadent red meat glistened and sizzled as its oils and fats dripped over the flames. Bacchus was there again, holding a jug of black, which he drank from himself. "Yes, sweet Orpheus," came the voice echoing in his mind. "Your trial is done. Now feast." And growling, he tore a haunch free from the roast and flung it before him. There was no resisting, no inhibition, no impulse, only hunger and the dissolution of reason before immersion in desire. He ate, and when done, made his way to the fire for more. Once there, Bacchus passed him the black jug, and from around him he sensed their thoughts. All of the beasts gathered in a circle around him, and in his mind he heard their song, like ancient wolves welcoming the birth of a child to their number.